Howdy, partner, and welcome back to Devlog 4. I appear to have recovered from the illness which so terribly struck me last week, and although I wasn't quite back to 100% this week, I did manage to get back into my routine, and I think I'm feeling back to 100% now. Unfortunately, in the meantime, I also appear to have picked up a minor case of foreign accent syndrome, but hopefully that will pass soon as well. I first discovered this when I was speaking with a friend of mine, and normally he would expect to hear something from me like, what the fuck are you talking about? But he recorded it and sent me back the recording, and I heard myself saying something like, what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, let's go ahead and take a gander at what I worked on this week. First of all, I made some final design calls on the game's transitional screens. You see, originally, I was going to have quotes appear before each chapter, either a quote that would be spoken by one of the characters in some upcoming dialogue, or a quote from the writings of a fictional author that I had come up with for the game's world. After thinking it over, I felt as though this didn't really fit the aesthetic of the game. Everything about the game is cool and chill, and I found it difficult to include these quotes in a way that didn't feel too serious, or perhaps even a little pretentious. I felt as though the story's themes ought to be expressed through the characters and their conversations, and it wasn't necessary to then also have this layer of quotes on top of that would just re-emphasize the exact same points. So, I scrapped it, and I decided to go with straightforward titles for each chapter and segment instead, and I'm thinking to tie it all together, I'm going to try to produce the game's music so that the title for each chapter is the same as the title for the music track that plays in that chapter. Most of my focus for the week was on polishing the opening tutorial level, which includes various elements that will be relevant for other levels as well. For example, I came up with this fancy way of introducing characters when you meet them for the first time. I made the characters look at each other appropriately depending on who's talking during a conversation. I made Genyu smart about following you around during these segments to reduce downtime, and a whole bunch of other small details like that. I also added a little more pizzazz to your special ability. It now does a quick bloom flash effect when you activate it, and there's brief periods of slow-mo just before you proceed to execute all of the enemies. Finally, I added a drop shadow to the pause menu just to give it a little depth and make it feel less plain. Over on the art side, we're working on the design for the second act's first samurai boss, Damien, Jones's younger brother, and we're also working on the running animation for that act's first enemy type. In other news, last night I watched a movie called Knock Knock, as directed by Eli Roth and starring Keanu Reeves. Now, normally when I watch a bad movie, it's not really that big of a deal. I don't feel the need to make a review about it. I don't feel the need to complain about it or anything like that. I just maybe laugh at the movie and move along and watch something else instead. But this movie was quite possibly the single most goddamn biggest piece of shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. I am genuinely angry at the thought that I lost an hour and a half of my fucking life that I will never get back watching this colossal piece of fucking shit. I am not joking when I say that Eli Roth or Eli Roth or however the fuck you pronounce this moron's name ought to be put on trial and quite possibly executed for having produced this movie and staining the entire human species with its existence. And what the fuck was Keanu Reeves thinking? There is no goddamn way you can convince me that Keanu Reeves sat down, read the script for this piece of shit and thought to himself, oh fuck yeah, this is what's gonna be good for my career. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I still get angry when I sit here and I just think about the fact that I lost a whole hour and a half of my life to this piece of fucking shit. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate y'all, and I hope you join me here again next week as I continue to polish the game and we get closer and closer to the release of the demo for 6 Samurai. Peace out.